thought it had a playoff feel to it. We see these guys a lot over the next week, and I told the guys before the game, with these guys playing Toledo, two hard-fought games, they didn't bank any points. You look at their division, Wheeling's probably in the toughest division in the league. They're right now out of the playoffs right now, and we knew how desperate they were going to be trying to bank some points at the end of this road trip here. So we knew that we were going to get a worthy opponent. Obviously, in the first, they took it to us. We were flat in the first. They outchanced us 12-4, and I thought that's where really Nags earned his paycheck tonight. He really bailed us out of a slow start and allowed us to stay close in it, and we were able to slowly climb back in.
Kyle, 6-point games, 6-point weekends are tough to get, especially this time of year, and this had to be really rewarding for that part of it.
Yeah. Obviously disappointed that we lost on Wednesday, lost that point to Quad, but the guys did a heck of a job. We got some help, from KZoo that took some points from Quad, so we created a little bit of separation for ourselves. Obviously, we still want to keep banking as many points as possible, and we do have some games against Toledo, eventually here, but, we just want to let the boys go out and have some fun, enjoy it. They worked their tails off this week. They deserve a couple days off, and we got a long week next week, which is very rare, so it's an advantage for us to take care of the bodies next week.
What's the thing that pleased you the most out of this one?
Well, the biggest thing after Wednesday's game that we said was our record's very deceiving after Wednesday. You looked at like the last 10 games. We didn't have a regulation loss over like the last 5 games. Our record was 6-1-3. I think most teams would be pretty happy with it, but I was not. I thought even when we were winning games, we could have been dominating games. And we challenged the group on Thursday, why don't we just start beating up teams bad? Why don't we just start dominating? Why do we got to keep coming from behind? Why do we got to keep playing all these tight games? Let's actually, and I said this, when's the last time we beat a team by 3-4 goals? And so we did that on Friday. We did it on Saturday. Tonight was a lot tougher, but I thought the guys took the message to heart and they ran with it.
How pleased were you with the power play?
It was good. Yeah, it was huge. I mean, when we needed it, it was big. And we had a blown assignment on the one PK goal that we gave up, and that's something that we got to get ready for next week. Their power play, I think, is number 3rd in the league, so they got a lot of talent over there. I mean, they got some good players offensively, and they got some offensive Ds, so they can hurt you. And they had some good looks on the power play. But I thought, when we needed to get a big shot block or stick in the lane, we did it.
When Sid was there and he got kind of roughed up a little bit in front of their own net, did that little physicality on their part really get you guys going a little bit?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. The second period, we actually had the most hits in a period of the whole season. We had 13 hits in the second period, which is a record for us this year on home ice. So I thought when the physical play picked up, we outchanced them in the second, and we turned the puck over less. We had 10 in the first, 5 in the second, and we took our hits from 4 to 13. So I thought once the game got physical, we got ourselves involved emotionally, and that's when our play gets usually better.
Is that, for a guy like Sid, I mean, obviously he's got a lot of experience. But for a guy like that, does that help him amp it up? And do guys rally around him when something almost a cheap shot? But
Yeah. I think when Zid gets involved physically, it's always a good thing. He's had a lot of Gordie Howe. How many has he had this year? I don't know. So he's had a lot of fights with some goals this year. But we have a team tough approach, and I think when a game starts getting chippy, as long as we walk that line, we got a little emotionally high. I thought on the bench a few times, but we had to rein it back in and. We did take some bad penalties tonight, so that's something we got to address where we haven't done that over the last few games. So we got back to some bad habits there, and we're going to have a talk with the guys. But overall, I like the weekend.
You say you took 2 days off and coming up here.
Yeah.
Is that a beneficial thing at this point right now to get them rested up for something like this, especially as you hit what's going to amount to be the stretch?
Be a good question to ask the boys. Do you know?
I'm
sure they're going to say yes. Yeah. No, it's a long. I mean, think about how many games we played in the last 2 weeks. I mean, we even this week we only had 1 day to practice, and next week we get the advantage of having basically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to kind of prepare for a couple games. So you got to find a way of as a coach throughout the grind of the season to give the guys the rest. And these guys go to the gym, so it'll be a gym day. They'll get their they're working at the gym, and that way when we come back Wednesday, when you hit the ice, it's a fresh day.
Cheek had a heck of a weekend too, 7 goals. What impressed you about him?
Well, I put him back to center, and I should have listened to him when I had him on wing. He wasn't really doing much. So, sometimes as a coach, you got to realize when a player's smarter than you, and he was smarter than me. So I put him back to center, and he made the most of it. Obviously, getting him on that line with Desi and Zid, there's some real good chemistry there. You got three guys that I think can all still play in the American League, and it wouldn't surprise me if any of those guys, get called up. They're three really good players, but I thought we had good balance across all three lines in these three games. So, even the line of Pearl, Zembach, and G, I thought was a good line over the weekend, and Baps and Kronk with Huey and Mulvey had a real good heavy presence to it. Even though they didn't score much, they had a lot of chances and created a lot of chaos, which was good.
You did that going into Friday's game?
Yeah.
Put 'em aside.
Yep.
What is it about Sid and Cheek and Desjardins besides their experience?
Well, when you put a line together, obviously you get a guy that can, two guys that can really known for scoring, and Cheek and Zid. But Desi, he's the gopher. So you want to have a gopher on the line, and he's the first guy in on the forecheck. Usually he's the guy that creates the loose puck. He's tremendously fast, and obviously he gets in there and does a great job of setting up a puck for retrieval in the offensive zone, and that's really what he amplifies that line. I think Desi's a critical component to that line, even though maybe Cheek and Zid you might think of maybe more on that line for the goal scoring, but he's really, I think, the catalyst to that line just because of the fact that he gets in there and creates those loose pucks, and then the playmakers and then the goal scorers can evolve off of that.
What a steal he was.
Yeah.
I've heard you say that before about the gopher. Is that the hardest part to find, that third guy to go with the two?
Yeah. I mean, you want a guy that's obviously plays a really quick north-south game, but he's got to be smart too. There's a lot of little details when you're the first forechecker in of how to kind of create, that separation man from puck, and he's really good at getting his stick in there, and he does a really good job if you watch him. His body positioning, he's really smart how he gets inside the defenseman and owns the lane to the puck. So then that way he can absorb the check, protect the puck, and wait for his support to come in, and that's a big element. Or other than that, you're just chasing the puck all night long.